Hello everyone, this is the essential tutorial for the highlighter tool. I'll walk you through how to use the tool step by step. But first, let's take a quick look at the tool's interface. When you launch the tool from the Window menu, you'll see a panel with two tabs, the Box tab and the Tool tab. Each of these tabs has its own options, settings, and buttons, which we'll go through in detail. The tool's interface is highly responsive and can be collapsed, so you can either use the tool with its full interface or shrink it to save workspace room. When you shrink it, a small toggle button stays visible on screen, and clicking it brings back the full tool window. If you don't need the interface at all, you can close it and leave just the small toggle button so you can reopen it whenever you like, and you can expand the window again at any time to restore the tool's complete interface. This feature is very useful for keeping your After Effects workspace clean and organized, especially when you're working on large projects and using a lot of tools within the program's interface. Before diving into the details, I'll quickly show you how to use the tool, and then we'll go step by step into everything the tool offers. All you have to do is select the layers you want to apply the highlighter to, whether they're text, images, shapes, Illustrator files, Photoshop files, or any other type of layer. Then, from the Box tab, choose the color mode for both the box and the cursor, along with the color shade for each, and press the highlighter button. The box and cursor will be created perfectly aligned. If you want to animate the box and cursor, go to the Tool tab. There, you'll first find a panel with 11 buttons for animating the box from any direction you choose. You'll also find a circle scale button for scaling the two cursor circles, 4 buttons for trim path, and a 5th button to reverse the direction of the trim path movement. You can also change which side the cursor appears from, and there are 2 ways to do this. Either by selecting the highlighter layer and changing the options in the cursor direction settings, or through the preset added to the highlighter layer itself, which gives you control over everything related to the highlighter. The tool also lets you create a highlighter without selecting any layer at all, and use it independently with anything you want. All you have to do is choose the settings that suit you and press the highlighter button, and then you can fit it to anything you want. For example, this very line in the article in front of you right now. That was a quick overview of how to use the tool. Now let's go deeper into the details and start explaining everything in the tool. Let's start with the Box tab. The first options you'll find in this tab are the box color settings. You can choose for the box to be fill and stroke, fill only, stroke only, or neither fill nor stroke at all, and you'll find a numeric box to set the box stroke thickness. Below that, you'll find the cursor color settings through cursor color mode, with the same 4 options as well, along with a numeric box to set the circle stroke thickness. Below those, you'll find the cursor direction settings, and here you have 5 options. Smart automatically determines the direction based on the layer type and its language. English text takes the direction from left to right, Arabic text takes the direction from right to left, and any other type of layer, like images or shapes, takes the default direction from left to right. Left to right makes the cursor direction go from left to right. Right to left makes the cursor direction go from right to left. Both top makes the cursor appear from both sides from the top. Both bottom makes the cursor appear from both sides from the bottom. Below those, you'll find the color swatches settings, which are 5 color boxes. Clicking any one of them opens a color picker directly so you can choose the color. Let's go through them. The first swatch, Box Fill, is for choosing the fill color of the highlighter box. The second swatch, Box Stroke, is for choosing the stroke color of the highlighter box. The third swatch, Circle Fill, is for choosing the fill color of the cursor circle. The fourth swatch, Box Stroke, is for choosing the stroke color of the cursor circle. The fifth swatch, Line Stroke, is for choosing the stroke color of the cursor line. Below those, you'll find the highlighter button. This button behaves differently depending on what's actually selected. First, if a single layer of any type is selected and you press this button, it creates a box linked directly to that layer. Second, if several layers are selected together, whether text layers or layers of different types, pressing this button creates a highlighter that covers the combined area of all the selected layers. Third, if several layers are selected together and you hold Shift on the keyboard and then press the highlighter button, it creates a separate box and cursor for each layer individually, instead of creating one box that combines them all. If no layer is selected at all and you press the highlighter button, it creates a manual box that you can use independently with any layer, controlling it and shaping its size however you want through the preset, like the line we're about to highlight right now in this image. Next to the highlighter button, you'll find the delete button. If you want, for example, to delete the highlighter you created along with its cursor, all you have to do is select the box only and press delete. This erases the box and the cursor along with any other layers the tool created, such as null layers. If you only want to delete the cursor, all you have to do is select the cursor only, and it will delete only that. The Box tab toolbar. The first thing in it is the Add Layer to Box Sources button. If you already created a highlighter on one layer or more, and you want to add a new layer to be included with it in the highlighter, just select the box, then select the layer you want to add, and press the Add button. The layer will be added as a new source for the box, and the box will automatically resize to include it along with the animation without any manual adjustment from you. The second thing is the Remove Layer from Box Sources button. If you want to remove a layer from the layers the box is linked to so it focuses only on the remaining layers, just select the box, then select the layer you want to remove from the selection, and press the Remove Layer button. The third thing is the 3D button, which converts the box and its cursor to 3 dimensions. All you have to do is select the cursor layer and the highlighter layer, along with the null layers if present, and press the button. It will convert all of them to 3D while preserving the connection and consistency and keeping the parenting sequence between them exactly as it is without any issues. The fourth thing is the Lock/Unlock Transform button. If you want to animate the layers the box is working on separately, such as scale, rotation, or position, without the box being affected, select the box and press the Unlock button, and you'll find the link disconnected, letting you move the layers freely without the box following them. The Duplicate button, when you select the highlighter layer and press it, it creates a copy of the selected box and its cursor. This is useful if you want to reuse this same box and cursor. And of course, it will be an independent highlighter that you can use and adjust with anything you want. Now let's move on to explaining the second tab in the tool, the Tool tab. The first thing you'll find in this tab is the Box Animation panel, which contains 11 buttons for creating scale animation for the box from any side you want. Each button applies a scale animation to the box from the corresponding side. All you have to do is select the highlighter layer you want to animate, then press one of the buttons and the animation will be applied, actually adding keyframes to the scale control on that same side in the preset applied to the highlighter layer. In other words, you can animate the box's appearance from any corner or edge you choose with just a click. Second, below the Box Animation panel, you'll find the Cursor Animation panel. The first button in it is the Circle Scale button, which creates a scale animation for the cursor circles. All you have to do is select the highlighter layer and press this button. There are also 5 buttons specifically for the trim path of the cursor line. The In button applies a trim path to the cursor line from the start. The Out button applies a trim path to the cursor line from the end. The In-Out button applies a trim path to the cursor line from the start and end together. The Mid-In button applies a trim path to the cursor line from the middle of the cursor. And the Reverse Path button reverses the direction of the line's own movement and consequently reverses the direction of the trim path movement if one exists. The Delete Animation button is a comprehensive button for deleting animation from the box and cursor, and its behavior differs depending on the selection. If you select the entire highlighter layer without selecting any specific keyframes, the button erases all the animation and keyframes from the selected box. If you select only specific keyframes, the button erases only those keyframes and reverts the preset control values to the last state they were in before the keyframes were set. The Tool tab toolbar. The first thing in it is the Nulls button. This button has several uses depending on what's selected. First, if you select the highlighter box layer and press this button, it creates 8 null layers on the corners of the box, linked to the box's points. You can attach any layer to these null layers so it follows the box either manually or using the parent button, which we'll explain in detail. Second, if you select the regular layers and simply left-click the button normally, it creates a single null layer that these selected layers are parented to. If you select the regular layers, then hold Control on the keyboard on Windows or Command on Mac, and then click the button, it creates a separate null layer for each selected layer, with each one parented to its own null layer. If you select the regular layers, then hold Alt on the keyboard on Windows or Option on Mac, and then click the button, it creates a null layer but without any parenting at all. The second button is the Parent button. This button is also important alongside the Null button. After creating the nulls, you can easily attach layers to each null layer instead of parenting them manually. all you have to do is select the layer you want to attach, select the null you want to attach it to, and press the parent button. Here's how the button behaves with regular layers in general. It attaches the layers based on the order in which they were selected. The layer or layers selected first get attached to the last layer you selected. If you want to detach a layer or layers, select them, then hold Alt on Windows or Option on Mac, and press the parent button, and it will detach those layers. Here's how to use the parent button and the null button together to build a responsive box. All you have to do is select the box and press the null button, and the nulls will be added. Then select the layer you want to attach, select the null you want to attach it to, and press the parent button. Once you've attached each layer to its corresponding null in the right direction, you'll end up with a box that's fully flexible and responds to any adjustment afterward. For example, if you change the text or change any setting in the preset, everything responds automatically, and the animation stays exactly as set. The third button is the Alpha Matte button. This button has several uses depending on what's selected. First, if you select a layer, or several layers, and then select the highlighter box layer, and press the button, the box acts as a matte for the layers you selected so they appear through it. Second, if you select a regular layer or several layers other than the highlighter layer, the button makes the layers selected first appear through the last layer you selected, based on the selection order, meaning the last layer selected acts as a matte for the layers you selected first. Third, if you want to remove the alpha matte from several layers that already have it enabled, just select those layers and press the alpha matte button, and it will remove the alpha matte from them with complete ease. The fourth button is the link button, which links the scale property of the selected layers to the highlighter box. All you have to do is select the layer you want to link, select the highlighter box you want to link it to, and press the link button. As a result, if you change the highlighter controls and shrink or enlarge the box, the linked layer will shrink and enlarge along with the highlighter automatically. This is very useful if you want to build a fully responsive box, especially when combined with the null button and the parent button. The fifth button is the control button. This button creates a control null layer for the selected highlighter box, containing all the preset controls gathered in one place. Each control can be dragged and dropped into the Essential Graphics panel. And if you actually want to add all the controls together into the Essential Graphics panel automatically, all you have to do is select the highlighter box, hold Shift on the keyboard, and press this button, and it will add all these controls directly into the Essential Graphics panel. And also, if you select the box layer along with the text or image layer the highlighter was applied to, it will add that too to the Essential Graphics panel, so you can edit the text or drop another image in its place. This lets you export this responsive highlighter as an MOGRT, ready for Adobe Premiere Pro, all with a single click. This feature lets you build templates that save you a huge amount of time in your work, instead of rebuilding the animation every time. Just build the template once, add it in Premiere, change only the text or the image, and you'll find everything responsive and adapting with you. You can also build an independent highlighter that you can use to highlight anything in Premiere Pro, and we'll go through this experience together in detail in a very thorough upcoming video. And that was everything in the Tools interface. Now let's actually move on to the preset added to the highlighter layer, which lets you control everything from it. As soon as you create the highlighter, you'll find a preset added to the highlighter layer itself. If you open the effect controls on the layer, you'll find one comprehensive preset divided into organized groups. The first group is Box General, where you'll find several controls, including enabling and disabling the box's fill, changing the color of both the fill and the stroke of the box, changing the opacity of both the fill and the stroke of the box, enabling and disabling the lock transform option, though it's actually better to do this using the lock button so the box keeps its place, enabling and disabling the extra padding option. The second group is Box Scale, where you'll find all the scale controls for the box from any side you want. Third group is Box Padding, where you'll find all the controls that add extra spacing to the box, whether in all directions or in width, height, right, left, top, or bottom. The fourth group is Box Offset, which gives you control over moving the box on its own without affecting the source layer itself, through three separate values: horizontal offset, X, vertical offset, Y, and depth offset, Z, if you're working in 3D. The fifth group is box rotation, which gives you rotation control over the box, whether from the center point, from any edge, right, left, top, bottom, or from any of the four corners. And the cursor follows this rotation automatically without you needing to adjust it manually. The sixth group is cursor general. Enabling or disabling the cursor entirely, choosing the placement mode from among 5 options: smart, left to right, right to left, both from the top, or both from the bottom, as well as showing or hiding the cursor's line and circle for each side, right and left separately, enabling the auto cursor scale feature, a very important feature for automatically scaling the cursor up or down along with the highlighter box. The seventh group is cursor colors, which has all the color controls for the cursor, enabling or disabling the fill of the circles with its color and opacity for each side separately, right and left, or locking them together with the lock button so they take the same color automatically, and the exact same idea for the circle's stroke, color, opacity, and lock. And finally, the color and opacity of the cursor line for each side with the option to lock them as well. The eighth group is cursor stroke, which controls the thickness of the cursor's lines and circles, whether through one overall value for the line thickness that applies to both sides, or a separate value for each side if you unlock it, and the exact same idea for the circle's thickness. The ninth group is cursor scale, which controls the size of the cursor circles, whether through one overall value that enlarges or shrinks both circles together, or a separate control for each side, top, bottom, right, left, if you unlock it, along with the circle anchor point option, which sets the anchor point during scaling. The smart mode anchors automatically from the point where the two lines meet, while the rest of the options anchor from the side or corner you choose. The 10th group is cursor trim paths, responsible for the appearance and disappearance of the cursor's lines and circles. The start, end, and offset of the line's appearance, whether overall or for each side separately, and the circles follow lines option, so the circles move along with the lines automatically, or you can unlock it and control the start, end, and offset of the circles completely separately from the lines. The 11th group is cursor padding, which controls adding extra spacing around the cursor lines, all of it, or by width, or height, or from any side. And the exact same controls for the cursor circles. The 12th group is cursor offset, a manual offset on the X, Y, or Z axis for the cursor lines, either overall or for each side separately if you unlock it, and the same idea for offsetting the circles. Highlighter source layer is an effect that gets added once per source layer, pointing to the layer's source actually linked to the box. The settings window has 3 sections: the box tab, the cursor tab, and the general panel. First, the box tab. The first option in it is extra padding. This option enables an empty margin in the box around the selected element, so the highlighter box isn't stuck right up against the selected layer, and you can increase or decrease this margin through this number. The second option is Lock Transform, which you can disable if you want the new boxes you're about to create to not be linked to their layers, or you can re-enable it. The third option is Use Font Height. Enabling this option adjusts the height of the highlighter box around text that has tall or descending characters. The fourth option is Auto Alpha Matte. This option applies the alpha matte automatically at the moment the highlighter is created. There's also a Reset Box Default button, which, when pressed, resets all the values of the box tab's settings back to their defaults. Second, the Cursor tab. The first option in it is Show Lines, responsible for enabling and disabling the appearance of lines in the highlighter boxes that will be created. The second option is Show Circles, responsible for enabling and disabling the appearance of circles in the highlighter boxes that will be created. The third option is Auto Cursor Scale, which is very important to enable if you want the cursor to automatically scale up and down along with the highlighter box that will be created. Circles follow lines. This option determines whether the circles follow the lines when a trim path is applied to the cursor lines or not. Left cursor. This option controls the appearance of the cursor on the right side. Right cursor. This option controls the appearance of the cursor on the left side. Reset Cursor Default, which, when pressed, resets all the values of the cursor tab's settings back to their defaults. The General Panel. The first option in it is enabling and disabling the success message that appears after creation, along with the ability to edit its text and how long it stays visible. The Celebration Duration. Animate Logo on Hover. Enabling or disabling this option controls whether the logo in the tool's interface animates when the mouse hovers over it. Reset General Defaults, which, when pressed, resets all the values of the cursor tab's settings back to their defaults. At the bottom of the window, you'll find a Save button, which saves all the changes you made to these controls so they apply to new highlighter boxes. And a Close button, which closes the window without saving. If you need any support, press the Help button next to the Settings button, and it will open a panel with usage instructions, solutions to common problems, and other useful buttons such as a tutorial video button, a support button, and other buttons. In the end, the tool's goal is to save you the long time you'd otherwise spend creating a highlight and cursor manually, along with animating them, while at the same time giving you complete and flexible control over every detail from one comprehensive preset. Highlighter, Smart Highlighter and Cursor.